right, so growing up in Madison, interesting enough, I live in the house that I was born and raised in. So I like to tell people that. I'm not quite sure why, right?
It was nice that they had volunteers to relieve people, and the volunteers came around in the beginning, and they had like name tags on, and they introduced themselves, and then they said, we're here to relieve you, so we'll be back around. And look at, as you can tell, I love sleeping on a sofa. So that was right there.
Growing up in Madison, we came from a family that everybody knew everybody. So Madison was small enough where all folks knew each other. Yeah.
Okay, tell everybody hello for me.
I will. Well,
All
good
right.
to see
My
you.
name is Maddie.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am. I could never forget
He's the
that.
one in the middle. So that's my Uncle Fred, and that's my Uncle Leroy.
My dad worked at Oscar Mayer and worked there for 41 years. And that was the place to work, right? So everybody's family member, at least one family member, worked at Oscar Mayer. My mom was the kind of woman, it's very interesting. I always love to tell this story. She was born in 1935. So she was that woman, right? So she was the kind of woman that woke up every morning and wore heels to work, pantyhose, skirts, dresses. Her hair was always in a French twist. She was tough. She was from the north side of Philly.
So that's my mom. And then my grandpa, who his mom was a slave and his dad was a master. And then that's my mom's only sister, Aunt Betty. And then that's my mother, my grandmother, Geneva. My sister actually has that coffee table. Because my mom was no joke. She was like, just because you have kids doesn't mean you have to look like you have them.
And the urgency never hit me because they never said you need to go to the emergency room or anything. The doctor was pretty nonchalant, and she was like, you can, make an appointment with your physician. And so she made an appointment with her physician. And then my sisters called me and said, Mommy has cancerous cells. And so they need to do a hysterectomy. Now, mind you, she's 77, right? So I was like, so I'm thinking, okay, that's fine, right? Because she's gonna have hysterectomy and they're gonna get all the cancer cells and stuff. And after she had her hysterectomy and all was fine, and then they said because of the type of cancer it was, they were in fear of it returning, and it would return very aggressively. So she started chemotherapy and radiation. And I had taken care of my dad before, so this kind of prepared me, for the journey with my mom. And then I'll never forget, my sister called and said, can you drop off some clothes for Mommy? And I said, sure. And so I went to her house, packed her bag, took it to her. And then I stayed with her for a little bit. And then you always knew when my mom was ready to go. I mean, she didn't mince words, right? So she was ready to go to sleep. And then this is our tagline. So we would always say, call me if you need me, right? So love you and call me if you need me. And then the next day, she passed away. My whole purpose, honestly, because you know that I started this business because of my mom, right? Mm-hmm. And I think we should all slow down. I think we all need to. Life isn't about just going to work and being miserable and going home. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to enjoy it. We have to slow down. She was a very elegant and classy, right? So she was, she danced in ballrooms, the Mercantile Ballroom. You know what I mean? So that's the era that she came from, right? Because people are always like, well, where do you come up with the ideas or the concepts? It's that, right? So I'm always imagining the life that my mom led. And once she passed away, I started to look at the ingredients and different body products that we all use and started to make my own natural body products. And from items that you buy at the grocery store. So like coconut oil and sweet almond oil, brown sugar, honey, olive oil, stuff like that. And a lot of people started to ask me, my girlfriends and stuff would say, how much do you sell your items for? I'm like, I don't sell them. It's just a hobby, something I would do for myself. And then enough people asked me that I got a group of girlfriends together in February of 2016, and we had a bazaar. Ladies. This is a beautiful spot, the feed kitchen, which is the incubator kitchen for folks with businesses to
so they can utilize industrial sized kitchens. So I am making a goat's milk base, lemongrass, and lavender poppy seed soap. It's the most popular soap I sell because lemongrass smells so nice and fresh. And then the poppy seeds add the exfoliant, so you can exfoliate your skin all the while you're soaping up.
First of all, so my mission statement is self-care is a divine responsibility. For my products, it is truly based around your individual wellness, right? Because we no longer want to put chemicals in our bodies. We no longer want to shop big box, right?
So I think I think it's the new thing, and I want it to be long lasting, where people are starting to get on board with mom and pop shops. Because when you purchase from a small business owner, you're actually purchasing from your neighbor, and you're keeping that money in your community.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, Caden, I'll walk you through the table left to right, okay? So these are hand-poured soy wax candles in different scents. So I have cinnamon leaf, lavender lemongrass, and then lavender. You sure can, yep.
That's so nice.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. That's like my signature.
I don't like to waste. So when I first started making these candles, and I'll show you when I start to wrap the wick, I used to cut it off and figure out how I could use it again. And I really couldn't. So then when I started to do, after somebody thought it looked pretty, I just wrapped the wick and then I let the customer cut it. One of the reasons why I use the wax, because you can use like a double stick, but I like the wax because, again, it's less things that are going into the environment. So with the double stick, it's garbage, it's paper, even though paper is recyclable. And I don't know if anything, the interesting thing is I don't know if anything that I do is pretty, but I feel like it is, right? So I feel like it's actually a piece of art or like a present that I'm making for somebody that I don't really know. And then I get to meet them and present them with it. Make them look nice and pretty.
Oh my God.
You guys are killing me.
I would probably still be doing it just for myself if it wasn't for the folks in the community. Hi, how are you? Good, thank you. If you have any questions, let me know. This one here.